Sagittarius, welcome. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au. It's March 2016, as if you didn't know, but it's a pretty significant month for you. Well, it's been a significant period in your life, full stop. And I say that because of the continuing transit of Saturn in your sun sign. I'm not sure whether you know much about this planet. It is considered actually feared by most. Even astrologers dread the whole concept of Saturn. But if you look carefully at what its function is in the horoscope, in terms of what it's supposed to do to your life and how you can work with that planet, the limitations and restrictions, the pain, the suffering, all of those doom, gloom scenarios that are associated with it are actually just one side of the coin. I remember there was a brilliant astrologer that I met in 1999 in India when I was doing my researches there and travelling around. I was, also taking some of my first initiations there in the south of India, in Chennai, with my current teacher of 20 years. But of course, you like to shop around a little bit when you're, hungry for the knowledge. And I met this little old man called Agni Sharma. He was just a dishevelled, sort of slender little man. He was beautiful, a worshipper of the goddess. And, he gave me some instructions into this planet. And in a nutshell, what he told me was that this planet indeed will trouble you. But if you're able to work with Saturn, avoid the temptations, really regard the difficulties that you've been having in a positive light, and I know it sounds strange, with a sense of gratitude, then this planet, as he said, will completely bless you. It will bring you some very, very good fortune. And I dare say, because it's in the sun sign, it has a full, what we call a reverse square aspect to the 10th house. You've just had a very powerful square aspect of Jupiter to Saturn. So some of you will most indeed be having big challenges in your professional life. But let me take that a step further. The 10th house is also the development of your ego. I guess the potential for what you can become. So this planet will be challenging you, creating troubles, obstacles, pain, suffering, for a lot of you anyhow. And the trick is to really go into what the message is. I think that's the question. Apart from that, and I probably laboured the point a little too much, I was trying to get to the point that, let me have a look here, the 6th of March, we see Mars, which is completely the opposite in terms of its capacity when we look at it next to Saturn. It is about to move into your sun sign as well. So for those of you that have been really labouring under the restrictive powers of Saturn, Mars is most certainly going to change all of that. Now, that comes with its own problems, and we're going to be talking about that over the next few months as Mars moves into this very powerful conjunction of Saturn in your sun sign. That'll happen around August more fully, but of course a lot of you are going to start to feel the presence of Mars. That's going to dynamically lift your energy. It's going to give you more vitality, more self-confidence, but therein is the problem, because when Mars moves closer to Saturn, then what we have is this diametrically opposed energy. Saturn the constrictor, which puts the brakes on, and Mars, which has the foot on the accelerator. So I use that example a lot in terms of the way these two planets function when they happen to be in conjunction or in some sort of especially hard aspect. So it's important for you to understand that although you may have a lot of this drive to get things done throughout the month of March and over the next couple of months, as these next few months start to unfold, you're going to find a lot of frustration there, anger, and this can affect your health and your relationships, because these two planets are going to be directly looking at your marital sector, your partnership sector. Fortunately, Venus is in your third house with Mercury right now, so communications can be quite smooth. But I did want to talk about the big focus along with the Saturn, that Saturn and Mars are in the foreground now, right? The foreground is the first house, your sun sign. And the other foreground planets we've just touched on, Jupiter in the North Node, your karmic points in your career sector. And now I want to come to the other foreground planets in your fourth house, Neptune, Sun, Ketu, the South Node, which is all your karma. And on the 9th we see an eclipse, a new moon there in this fourth house, which has everything to do with your self-satisfaction, your peace of mind and inner happiness. My mentors have taught me that this is very much an overlooked house in the horoscope and has a lot to do with your personal happiness. Not happiness caused by anything in particular, just how you're feeling about yourself. You know, that state of being that I'm talking about. So this new moon, I think, is going to unleash a whole lot of new energies. You must understand, however, that the foreground planets of Mars and Saturn are going to be directly in what we call a square aspect again, and around straight off, as soon as the month commences, you've got Sun moving into a tighter and tighter square to the planet Saturn. So that's going to bring with it some responsibilities on the home front, but just sticking to the theme, responsibilities to yourself. And I think that's an important one we often overlook. We're so preoccupied with how much responsibility we need to take on for other people. And while that's happening, you're not going to be able to take responsibility for yourself. What is it that's going to make you happy? Often there's a sacrifice that goes on here. Well, I've got to do this for my uncle because, you know, he's getting a bit old, and then I've got to do this for my friend. And so while all of that's happening, I'm not saying you should give all of that up, Sagittarius, but I am saying that there is a need for you to take a responsibility for yourself. That can start to take place a lot more easily when Venus transits into this same sector, where we're going to see that new moon, the eclipse, on the 9th, solar eclipse. And then I'm just taking a look here, on the 12th, straight after that, Venus moves into this sector as well. We see on the 5th, Mercury making a move into that area. So you've got a lot of energy converging in this area, your domestic sphere, your maternal relationship, familial relationships, how you feel in your home life. And with Saturn there squaring both your profession and this area, we can see why this foreground position in your sun sign is such a pivotal point in your horoscope right now. Now, the flip side of this new moon is that the full moon, another eclipse, which this is also highly significant for you, taking place on the 23rd, the lunar eclipse in your 11th house, Sagittarius. The 11th house for you is the sign of Libra. This sector of your horoscope relates very, very predominantly to such things as your friendships, your networking, that, so on and so forth. But I'm trying to tie this in with this sense of happiness, that fourth house issue, inner happiness. With the 11th house, which, apart from it being the social sector of your horoscope, has an incredible amount of power and push towards fulfilling you in your life generally. The 11th house is the fulfillment of desires. So it's interesting how we tie these two houses together and see that usually the 11th house, being the house of fulfillment, should necessarily result in this fourth house unfoldment, that is, inner happiness and contentment. But as you and I both know, that's not always the case. You know, we achieve so much stuff in the outer world. We get our money, we fall in love, we go on our holiday, we get that beautiful dress or, you know, tie or whatever. For a moment, we're completely happy, we're elated, like kids at the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then only to find that the gloss soon wears off, and that fourth house stuff, they're still scratching away there, making us feel, but why? Why the hell don't I feel happy here? So I don't want you to get carried away by that 23rd full moon. That's going to make you feel as though a lot of stuff's coming to you. I want you to focus on this fourth house stuff this month, Sag, and try to detect what it is within yourself that you need to be happy. Actually, you need nothing to be happy. And as I said to one of the other star signs this month, when people ask me, Dadhichi, what is the secret of being happy? I simply say 2 words: be happy. It's that simple. It's not something that is caused. Happiness, according to the spiritual lineage of my astrological teachers, is that happiness is your true state of being. And I think I'll leave it on that note for this month. I hope you'll join me next month. If you're wanting more personal attention with your horoscope, you know, I'm always available to do a reading for you, take a closer look at your chart, address anything and everything you want in the horoscope. You can do that at the site. Contact me here if you wish. And of course the chronological list of transits, which gives you a bit more detail on what's happening this month, today, for the year, there at astrology.com.au. Thanks for your company. Always enjoyable. Take care, and hopefully I'll see you next month. Bye bye.